Welcome guys once again to Picama Stitches. Today I'm going to be showing us how to make this beautiful bubu dress with design on the butterfly parts. Okay, thank you so much guys, my new subscribers. Thank you my OGs for always coming back to watch my tutorial. I'm really grateful. So let's dive right into today's tutorial. So for today's tutorial, I have this little piece of Ankara that we used in our last tutorial that I posted. I have my crinoline. You're going to be needing like 8 or 9 yards depending on the length. Okay, and then you need less than half yard and this beautiful Ankara print. So let's get right into cutting. So it depends on the length. If you want from 60 of length, you're going to be cutting out 3.5 yards of Ankara print. Okay, and this is how you're going to be folding it. Where you have the selvage, okay, the design, can you see the way I'm folding mine? That's where you're going to be folding it in order to have a long length that is up to 60 and above. I hope you understand, unless you want to work with a shorter length. So you're going to be folding it on the selvage. You cut out minimum 3.5 yards to 4 yards depending on your length. And when you're done cutting, you fold it in that the both selvage meet each other, just the way you see me fold it. Okay, the both selvage will meet each other, meaning you're going to be having 4 folds. So go ahead and take your time and arrange this accurately so that everything is in place. Okay, so I'll go ahead and arrange mine. So after arranging, can you see what I have? The both selvage are facing each other. Can you see what we have? And they are on a fold of 4. This part is folded. Okay, so from here you're going to determine the length. So from the shoulder part, I'm going to measure down the full length of my gown. So if you fold your Ankara this way, you can even have up to 65-68 inches of length if you want a long length. So you can see where my tape ends. I have 60, but I want the length of this dress to be 63 inches plus folding allowance. Okay, so can you see I'm going ahead to mark my 63. So you can do 65, you can do 60, depends on the length you want to achieve. So now what I have, because I cut out more than 3.5 yards, that's why I'm having this excess. So whatever I have left, I'm going to be using it for my facing. Okay, so go ahead and cut out the length that you need, the desired length that you need. So I'm going ahead to cut out mine. So you can see what I have left here. I've gotten the full length that I need. So we'll go ahead and start marking out. So on fold, I have 21.5 inches. Can you see? So we're going to be taking our marking from the folded part. Where the selvage is the open part. So this folded part that there's no opening, that's where we're going to be doing our marking. Okay, so at this part, I'm going to be marking the round neck width for myself. I'm doing 3.75. For a slim person, you can do 3 inches, 3.5 is fine. And then for the back neck depth, I'm going ahead to mark 1 inch for the back neck depth. For my front neck depth, I'm still going to be marking it here, but I'll show us how to cut it separately. I'm marking 3.75 as well for my front neck depth. Sorry, 3 inches, yeah, for my front neck depth. Can you see what I have? Now, because of the opening, for this bubu to pass freely on my neck, I'm going to be opening it up by 5 inches. So we're going to be having a very little slit. So I'm going to be connecting this 5 inch with just 1/4 of an inch, okay, for the opening to show, not up to 1/2 inch, okay, maybe 0.2 inches. I'll connect it back to my 3 inch front neck depth only. Okay, can you see the way I'm connecting it? And this 1 inch is the back, the 3 inches for the front, 5 inch for it to pass freely through my head. Okay, Then I'm going to be marking my shoulder width. Then from my shoulder width, whatever I have left, that's the extension from our bubu. Can you see how free to be on me? Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut out just the back neck depth for now. Okay, after cutting this out, I'm going to show us how to open this up in order to cut out the front neck depth. Can you see? Just the back neck. You're going to lift this up just the way you see me do. Please pay attention, guys. You're not going to open it this way. You're going to be placing the both sides, the both selvage together. Just watch. Pick the neck depth like this. Make sure the both selvage, the both sides of your bubu is matching. Go ahead and arrange them. Make sure they align equally so that you can cut. Align the sides, sorry, perfectly. When you align them well, you will see that the neckline you marked out will lay perfectly for you to cut out. So after aligning mine, taking my time to align this, make sure everything is resting perfectly. How you get this is for the both sides, the both selvage to match each other. That's how you will cut out your front neck depth. So you go ahead and cut out the 5-inch we marked and then the round neck for the front, and that's all. It's as simple as that. And when you're done, go ahead and open up the sides, lay everything flat on the table. You will see the shape of the neck, the round neck, and the V parts. Can you see what we have here? So when the selvage meets each other accurately, it will be easy for you to cut out your front neck depth. So after laying everything, can you see what we have? It's well relaxed. Can you see the V shape? So go ahead and cut out facing that we'll be using to turn this V parts. Okay, just the V parts. So I have this piece of Ankara print. The length is 10 inches, and then the width, when you open this up, I also have 10 inches. Okay, so you're going to put this back together and notch the midpoint. We need the midpoint for this, and you place them right sides facing right side of your main fabric. Okay, you're going to be pinning this in place. You can go ahead and draw out that V effect that you had at the center. Okay, but since you won't see this accurately, just go ahead and make sure your V part is matching the cut parts that you already cut, and then go ahead and pin down those edges. So just go ahead and pin down the facing, okay, just the way you see me do. After pinning this down, you can flip it over to the other part just to be sure. Okay, so you follow the cut part and stitch down just the V part. Okay, so what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to flip this over to the wrong side. So you will sew this from the wrong side so that you can actually follow the V shape, so you won't make mistakes. Okay, flip this to the wrong side. When you flip it over, you will see the pins you had already put in place, and you just ensure everything is laying accurately. When you're sure everything is laying, you go ahead and sew up these V parts. So after sewing it up, still from the wrong side, go ahead and now slit your facing. You had already slit your main fabric. Slit your facing, okay, follow the same line, slit it open close to your stitch, and do not cut through your stitch that you just made, and make little notches on the sides. You can use your hemming gun while sewing this, so it relaxes when you're going to iron it. So go ahead and notch, make little notches all around. So can you see the way I'm notching? Go ahead and take your time and notch gently. Make sure you're not cutting through your threads. And when you're done notching and cutting out every form of thread, when you flip this back to the right side, you're going to see everything in place. Can you see what we have here? So I don't want my facing to be just straight. I want to just create a little bit of curve at the edges. You can go ahead and leave yours the way you want it, but I just want mine to have this curvy effect at the edges. So I went ahead to trim the edges a little bit. So can you see what I have? Can you see how my facing is looking? So you're going to flip the facing to the wrong side of the fabric, and when you flip this over, you'll see that you've neatly turned this V part, not the round neck, just this V, the 5 inches that we cut opening. You cut open, sorry. So can you see what we have? You're going to go ahead and give this a good press so everything stays in place. Can you see what I have here? It's looking so neat even without ironing. So when you're done with this, we're going to be measuring round the neck now. From this part, can you see? From this open part, you're going to measure round to the other opened part. We have already turned the V part, so now we're going to be cutting out the collar for the round neck. Okay, now this collar for this bubu doesn't have a collar stand, it's just the collar. So take your time and measure around this neck. You can measure it twice just to be sure for accuracy. Okay, so can you see the way I'm taking my time to measure this round back to the other opening? Okay, just at the edge. Can you see what we have? So I have 20.2 inches. So I'm going to bring in a little piece of fabric for us to cut our collar. So I have this piece of Ankara. I'm going to put it on a fold of 2. So now that it's on a fold of 2, we're going to be dividing 20.2 into 2 since our fabric is on fold. So 20.2 divided into 2, I'm going to be marking 10.1. Okay, can you see what I have? Or you can go ahead and mark 10, then you mark 1 or you mark 2 just to be sure. Then after marking that, you're going to be adding half of an inch to that for joining the both sides of your collar. And then I connected this into a straight line. Okay, remember it's on fold. So after doing that, the length of my collar for now is going to be 4 inches. I'm going to go ahead and mark 4 inches from the top. Now this top part I'm marking from is going to be the neck line where we're going to be attaching to the round neck, and this part I'm marking the 4 inches is going to be the lower part that is going to be having the curve. So I'll show us how we'll attach, we'll get that curve. So from this center part at this lower part now, go up by 1 inch the way you see me do and connect it slanted, in a slanted manner downwards. Can you see what I have? But make sure your slant still ends at your 10.6 line. Can you see what I have? Can you see? You can go up by half of an inch or 1 inch, and at this corner I came down by 1.5. You can decide to go down by 2 inches, 3 inches. This depends on the design you want to have on your collar. Okay, how extended you want it to be. You can go up by half of an inch, okay, but I went up by 1 inch and I slanted it back to my initial line. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this out to show us the shape we have. Now if you want your collar extension to really show, to be long, you can come down by 3 inches. So can you see what we have? I'm going to go ahead and cut another piece of this, making it 2. So this inner part will be the outer part and the straight part will be the part will attach to the neck line. So this is just optional. I just came up at the collar part by 1/4 of an inch to trim off. I didn't want the collar part to just be straight. You can leave yours straight, but I just cut out very little inch, okay, from that. And I'm gonna head now to cut out 2 pieces of this collar. I'm going to be attaching stay to 1 piece, and then 1 will be without stay. So let me show us how you're going to be joining this. You're going to be putting them right sides facing each other. You're going to be sewing this inner part and then the sides. You flip it over. So this is what I have. I've also gone ahead to iron the neckline of the main fabric. Can you see? I've ironed it in place. I've added stay to 1 part of the collar. Can you see? And 1 part is without stay. Can you see this inner part? And I've stitched up the sides. Only the part I'm going to be attaching to the neck round is without joining. So you're going to be matching the center back to the center of this collar. I ironed it out so I know the midpoint of my collar. So the center of your back neckline matching the midpoint of the collar. You're going to be working with your pins at this point. Go ahead and pin them in place. Then you're going to be picking your collar, the edge where you turned, just match it around the way you see me do, and pin it to the corner where you started your measurement from. Can you see what I have there? And you're going to pick the other side, the other corner, and also align them together. Make sure everything is matching. Now if you did the right measurement, you took the right measurement, sorry, everything is just going to match up in place. Then after pinning down these key points, you're also going to go ahead and pin round the neckline, okay? Or you can just go ahead to your sewing machine and sew it round in place. Just follow the collar, okay, the neckline, sew it round. So I'll sew mine and then I'll show us what I have. So can you see what we have? Our collar is sitting pretty. Can you see the extension, okay, that we have there? Can you see? So beautiful. So we'll go ahead and work on the design we have on the sides. From the shoulder, you're going to measure to the hem of your dress, the measurements that you have. Remember, I cut out 63 inches. So this 63 inches is going to be by 2. Remember, this side alone is on fold. So just for one side, you're going to be having 100 plus, okay, on one part is on fold. So since one part is on fold, you're going to be cutting 126 for one part, 126 for the other part. So this where I'm bringing in my crinoline. My crinoline is 2-inch crinoline. You can do the 3-inch crinoline. I'll go ahead and open up my fabric. Now since my crinoline is 2 inches, I'm going to be cutting out a 4-inch strip of fabric, okay, just for ease, okay, allowance. 4 inches is fine, but if you're working with a 3-inch crinoline, you can cut out 5-inch strip for the design. So I'll cut out 4 inches and then I'll show us what I have. So can you see, I've gone ahead to cut out strips of fabric that is 4 inches. Now the length is not enough to give me 126 just for one side of the bubu. So I'll go ahead to join it to have the length that I need for both sides. Remember, this 126 is just for one side, 126 is for the other side. So you really need a long strip of fabric. So I'll go ahead and join mine, and then by that it should be enough for one side, and then I'll use the other one for the other side. I'll show us how to attach this to your dress. So can you see what I have here? I've gone ahead to join mine. I'll open up the seam and iron this out. And I've also finished the hem of my crinoline. Can you see I used a fabric to stitch it down so it will be comfy on my client or on my body, okay? So what you do next is this. You go ahead now and open up your dress, open up your bubu, and bring in your facing that you've already cut out, okay? Now if you've watched this video up to this point and you've not liked, please kindly like and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. So you're going to bring the right side of your Ankara print facing the right side of your facing as well. You place them this way, right sides facing each other. Then you bring in your crinoline just the way you see me do, and stitch 1/4 of an inch or 1/2 of an inch on the sides. Please do not drag it while stitching, just follow it smoothly. Whatever you do on this part, you're going to repeat the same thing on the other part, okay? Your facing is sandwiched between the crinoline and the main fabric. So after stitching this in place, can you see what I have? So neat. So we're going to be top stitching this. To top stitch this, you can decide to flip it to the right side or sew on the wrong side. You're going to push all the excess fabric towards the crinoline and top stitch. It's not going to be easy, but take your time and do it carefully for a neat work. pull all the excess towards the facing and top stitch neatly. So this is what I have after top stitching, and I've gone ahead to fold in 1/2 inch at the open part of the facing, and I used my hemming gum to hold it in place before I'll go ahead to stitch it down. So let me show you guys what I mean. Can you see? I've gone ahead to fold in 1/2 inch on this other part of my facing, and I used my hemming gum to iron it down before I'll go ahead and stitch very close to that 1/2 inch. Can you see? I'll stitch at this point to hold it in place. So I'll go ahead and open it up again and show us what I mean. After top stitching towards the crinoline, can you see what I have? Go ahead and flip everything this way towards the wrong side of the fabric, fold in 1/2 inch on that you're facing, and then stitch it down. Can you see what we have? You can stitch it down, but I had to use my hemming gum to hold it in place before I'll go ahead to stitch it with a matching thread. Okay, so I'll be ironing this collar out much later, but let me show us how you're going to be shaping the body. Okay, when I'm going to shapen the body, I'm going to stitch down my facing in place. Now go ahead and get the grease line, the midpoint. While ironing, I made sure I get the midpoint of the center front for our markings to be easy. Now from the shoulder, I'm going to be determining the opening for my sleeve. Okay, I marked 11 inches for my sleeve. That's like saying armhole opening. I marked 11 inches because it's a bubu dress. I want it to be free. I didn't use the normal 9 inches. Okay, for a plus size, 11 inches, 12 inches is fine. And after marking that, I'm going to be marking my waist point. So shoulder to waist, I'm marking it on the other side. Whatever I'm marking on this other part, I'm marking on the other part as well. Now this midpoint that I ironed out will guide me on where my markings will be, my center line is. Now from my waistline, I came down by 9 inches to get my hip measurement. So go ahead and also get your shoulder to your hip or your waist to hip measurement. Now all this marking is on the right side of our fabric because we're going to be shaping on the right side of the fabric. My armhole opening, my waistline, and then my hip points. Those are the 3 lines that we have here. So can you see what I have? Now from this midpoint, I'm going to be marking my bust circumference divided by 4. Now that my bust circumference, I'm going to be marking it on this my armhole opening. So I'm going ahead to mark it with half inch ease. Okay, now from the midpoint, I'm also marking the same thing on the other part. Now if you go ahead and measure from the other line to this other line, you will see that you have your bust circumference divided by 2. So still from the midpoint as well, make sure everything is lying flat. From the midpoint, I'm going to be marking my waist measurement divided by 4, and I'm adding 1/2 inch for ease to it. You can decide to leave the 1/2 inch and mark the exact waist measurement. And I'm going ahead to mark the same thing at the other part, and then I'll connect it. The way you see me mark my chalk is the same way I'm going to be sewing when I get to my sewing machine. Remember, we're marking on the right side. You're going to be sewing on the right side. At the hip point, I'm going to be marking my hip divided by 4 plus 1/2 inch for ease as well. From the center point, I'm marking the same thing at the other part. Okay, now after marking this, go ahead and connect, and you can go ahead and cross check these measurements to be sure you're having your exact full body measurements. Can you see what I have on both sides? Make sure everything is the same. That's why you need the center line to guide you. Now at this hem point, you can decide to have a slit and opening on both sides, or you can decide to sew yours all the way to the hem of the dress. Now you can decide to take the measurements you have on your hip all the way to the hem line, or you can decide to take out 1 inch from it if you want it to be a bit shapy at the lower part. So I decided to take out 1 inch from what I have on my hip area, and I connected straight down to the hem of the bubu. But if you want a slit on both sides, you can open up 10 inches from the lower part or 15 inches. It depends on what you want for the slit opening on the lower part of this bubu dress. So just go ahead and connect your lines. I'm going to be connecting mine all the way to the hem because I want mine to have seam lines all the way to the hem. Okay, I'll sew this straight down and then I'll show us what we have. So can you see my lines? Now when I'm done sewing and I iron out, these marked lines won't be here anymore. So these are the points you're going to be stitching on. Just follow your marked lines just the way you see me point. You sew one part first, then you go ahead and sew the other part. Okay, but most importantly, confirm that this is your exact measurement. When you're done with that, you're going to flip this over and hem the lower part by 1/4 inch and 1 inch, depending on the hemming allowance you left. You're going to hem it all the way round the lower part of your dress. It's as simple as that. So I'll do all of that and show us what I have. So this is our beautiful bubu dress. Can you see how simple and detailed it is? Can you see the lower part? I've gone ahead to hem it, and I've used a matching thread to sew down the facing and also to shape the body so it won't be visible for you to see because I used a matching thread. So use a matching thread to sew down your bubu. Now you will notice that the chalked lines are no longer there because I had to press it. So whilst in pressing this, those chalked lines won't be visible. Can you see how neatly the side is? Can you see how we finished this up with our crinoline? And I did the same to this other part. I've shaped the bodies as well. So thank you so much guys for stopping by for today's tutorial. If this tutorial was helpful, kindly give this video a thumbs up and subscribe. Also share for more persons to see. I really appreciate you guys, and thank you again. Can you see the facing? See our collar sitting pretty. We've come to the end of this tutorial. I really appreciate you guys. My new subscribers, I really appreciate you, and I also appreciate if you give me a video suggestion. Okay, if you have a style you want us to work on, please kindly let me know in the comment section. Till I see you guys next time, have a great day and eat. Bye bye.